In this video, I'll show you how you can monitor your project health, all of your tasks, pull different reports, and archive your projects. A lot of what I'm going to show you was created in an effort to keep you out of Excel, let us generate those logs for you, and to keep you out of your server. What I mean by that is you don't need to create folders, bury them in your server, save documents, distribute. All of that is going to be done in part 3, and you can access your data at any time. So I'll make sure that I go over how to do that. First of all, at your landing page, I just want to talk quickly about this third tab here called Project Groups. You'll always have two groups pre-populated for you, one that is your assigned projects and one that has all of your company projects on it. We will give you some quick insights here of how many projects that includes and how many tasks are waiting for that. I'm going to dive in and click this View Group Analytics. These group analytics are obviously much more beneficial when you have numerous projects in part 3. If you have one or two, those might not be that insightful, but once you get a lot of projects in part 3, you can start to see how your team is performing and how your projects are performing. So for example, on the right-hand side, I have all of my projects that exist under part 3 altogether. We give you some different stats across the top here. So total value of changes issued and what's in progress, how many instructions, submittals open and returned, and average response times. If you scroll down, you'll see that we color code some of this for you. So for example, response time per project, anything that is in red needs your attention. So if I look at this one, I can see, obviously with some test data, that this project is not doing well. That is a very big time to process RFIs. We will always tell you the project expectation. So at the settings level, we said we had 7 days to return it. So this is wrong. This needs our attention. Anything that is green is good. It's hitting those expected days or exceeding them. And the orange is the average for you. We also display volume per project. This is helpful when you have a group of projects to spot an outlier. If you have a group of projects that are all around the same size, but you can see one has, 50 more RFIs than the other, dive into that. What's going on? Why are there so many RFIs? So this is just a good way for you to draw your attention to those different projects that might need your attention. Maybe they need more resources. Maybe they just need to have a conversation with the GC about why there's so many RFIs, why are there so many changes, what are those driven from? There's just a lot of different things that this could surface for you. So this is just meant to be a high level. You can jump right into these. So I could jump right into this project. It'll bring me to the dashboard, or you can click on the right-hand side for any of them. If I go back to this tab here, if you have admin privileges at your org level, you will see that you have this extra admin overview tab. What this does is let you view tasks by team members. So I can look at Alex and see everything that he has to do. How many past due tasks does he have? How many total tasks does he have waiting for him? And I can view them as well. This helps you see who might need help and on what projects. You could also view by projects. So if you wanted to see what is outstanding by people on a project, you could do that. And then you can also view by document. So next I'll show you at your organization level, we also have some reports. You can pull a report card here and it will display all open submittals and RFIs across all of your projects and will tell you anything that's overdue and whose ball in court is with. You'll get a CSV file when the export is finished. So you can access that from this project from your organization level, just in the top right by clicking report card. Now let's dive into a project so I can show you a bit of information at the project level. On this logs page here, you'll notice in the top right corner, we have an export button. This will email you an Excel file and you can select which documents you want to be included on this. So maybe if you only want submittals and RFIs, you can deselect the other items here, and we will send you an Excel file that includes all submittals and RFIs, and that will be emailed to you. That is an effort to make sure that you always have this information. You can pass it on if an owner or a GC wants it outside of Part 3, but now you don't need to manually upkeep those Excel files. At the dashboard page, we also have a print PDF option, and that will just give you a quick visual of all this information that's on your dashboard. If you need to share it with someone, if they don't want to come into Part 3 and have a look at it, and you can just print this here. It gives you some standards about submittals in progress, returned, average response times, open, return, and the same for RFIs, and then how many documents were issued overall. So that is a very quick recap if you want to go there. At the settings level, if you're using any of our change and pricing documents, under project budgets, you may have allowances and contingencies created. This doesn't apply to everyone. This is mainly if you are using our pricing documents and you're pulling from allowance or contingency, and it's not going to a straight contract overage. So some people don't use this area, and that's fine. If you are using it, you can click this export button in the top right corner. We'll give you an Excel file about each transaction that's happened under each budget. So for example, if I look here, I can see all my transactions, and it will send me an Excel file for that, so that if your owner wants to know, hey, how much money came from all my allowances or all of my contingencies, you can give them a nice clear breakout of how much came from a change order here or a pricing document there and what date it was issued. The next thing down here is export data. You will always have access to your project data. You can export this at any time. We give you this little update of what's included. So we will send you a file that has all of the documents and the history, all finalized PDF documents, so anything that was returned from Part 3, and all attached files. It says here what's not included. So markup activity, all that means is that if you are using our annotation tools, we aren't going to tell you David made an arrow at 5 p.m. on Tuesday. So when we say activity, that's the more granular level of activity, but all markups are always included in your exports of returned issued documents. So what you want to do is click Export Project. And again, this doesn't need to be done at the end of the job. You can do this whenever you want to, and it's exported in a nice folder structure for you that includes separate folders for each different document type. So all of your submittals will be separated, labeled clearly, and include all attachments, originals, and returned. Same goes for RFIs and other document types. When you are finished a project, you can archive your projects. So under advanced settings here, if I click archive project, it's going to ask you to type in archive just to make sure that you want to do it, and then you can click archive. If you go back to your organization, you'll see that I have all active projects and all archived projects. So we'll always tell you the date of last activity. And you can also bring a project back to life. So this was archived on January 9th. If something happened on this project, or now all of a sudden we're doing more work or we need to certify a payment, something like that, if you go to settings and advanced settings, you can click reactivate project. Just type in reactivate, bring it back to life, and now it will be in your list of projects. So if I search here, now I can see that my project is back in the active category. So overall, there's a lot of different places in Part 3 where you can get Excel reports from. At the project group level, you can group analytics. You have some admin overviews to view at a more granular level by team member or project. At the project level, you can also dive in on the logs page and get export, you can go into the dashboard, print a PDF, and then under the settings, you can grab your project budget export if you're using allowances and contingencies. And of course, when your project is finished in Part 3, you can export your data and archive your projects. If you ever have any questions, you can always use this question mark in the bottom right corner. So for example, if you have a question about how can I archive a project, you can ask and we will give you the answers. And of course, you can email us through support@part3.io if you have any questions.